Why would you volunteer to come back and do some light work?
Well, probably no small amount of the experience of the light dark learning guilt for all of the things that you might have done.
Yeah.
So to make
amends.
make it right, then you have a little bit of a job. Let's turn it back the way it was.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on game.
Welcome to the Driving to the Rest podcast. This is Inelia.
And this is Larry. Just a quick note. If you're hearing this, you're on our free feed, which means you'll only get the first part of this conversation.
To access the rest, go drivingtotherest.com and subscribe to the Wisdom Keeper Hour.
Join us and our expert panelists for detailed insights and the after party where you're invited to join in the conversation. Head over to drivingtotherez.com and become a subscriber.
Your $8 subscription keeps this podcast ad-free and helps us keep the lights on and maybe even get a decent cup of coffee. More importantly, it connects you with a community of passionate wisdom keepers like yourself. So if you're ready to go deeper, join us at drivingtotherest.com and support the journey. All right, so this week is a first in the history of our podcast.
That's pretty impressive.
Yes, because we've been doing this for years now, right?
We have. We're probably on episode 600.
Yeah, well, not quite, but we're getting there.
We're getting there.
We're doing a part 2 from last week's episode.
Yeah, the nature or how can light and dark see each other?
Yes.
Because, oh my gosh, this is a big conversation.
It is. It is a big conversation, and I think it's very appropriate to have it now. And obviously, we need to cover more and unpack more things that we talked about on the first episode, both on the first free half and on our Wisdom Keeper half. So
I was listening to a few podcasts in the last week, and a few of them were on the same exact topic of light and dark, seeing each other, and even splits in reality and things like that. And I could see how the value of the dark experience came in repeatedly. But when they described what the dark experience was, it wasn't what darkness actually is. It was a fluffy bunny version. You know what I mean?
So it wasn't torturing people and
no, they didn't even
them.
once bring in that would be the best way, but they did use it to value their own torture experiences naturally, right? That made them stronger, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And they did have language around things like challenge, you know, it'd be challenging, or obstacles, or things to overcome.
Yeah.
All the while mix it in with that's what dark is,
Right.
So that's why dark is helpful.
Yeah.
So it's a very sly little insert. It's like an agreement, right?
Yeah.
Our reality works on agreement, and we make this little agreement thinking darkness is, well, it's just this fluffy bunny thing.
Yeah.
When darkness isn't actually that. No. But we say, well, darkness is good and I want some.
Yeah, don't say that.
Don't say that.
Don't say that.
That is your tacit agreement. Implicit, with your own words right out of your own mouth. Right? So important to know what you're saying.
Indeed. Yeah.
So that's why we need to talk about it some more.
Right. Okay, so here goes. Some of the items that the Wisdom Keepers listed for us to unpack a little bit more in the hour 1 and then expand on the Wisdom Keeper hour with the panelists were the nature of darkness in duality. Yeah. So here we're talking about the duality that is light and dark, not the I and other, which is a natural duality of the universe. Do you see the difference between the two?
I see the mixing again of light and dark as I and other, so it's part of a whole.
Yeah.
So it's a natural to intertwine them and think they're the same.
Yeah.
Even though
They're not.
They're not.
Although we have covered this topic in the past, it is always a good idea to review it when we start talking about the light-dark experience. Darkness, as now we are talking real darkness, not theoretical stuff, is not natural to our planet or our species. It is not natural for us to want to hurt others, torture them, and enslave them. Yes, sometimes we get upset and we lash back or lash out, but this is a reaction inside the light-dark paradigm and not a natural reaction. We're continuously taught that darkness is good for us and makes us stronger. In other words, being tortured, having painful and oppressive experiences of life, fear, and terror helps us in some way. But the fact is that the nature of those experiences is meant to disable us. They do not empower us in any way or form, and they do not empower our planet or our species. When we set ourselves against another person or group and go out of our way to hurt them, do we do it to make them stronger?
Sure, that's your goal. Well,
No.
I mean, at boot camp, it felt like a little bit like maybe it was being miserable to us to make us stronger.
Well, that's the light workers' experience of explaining it away, right? They couldn't possibly be in that job because they like to torture little boys and girls.
No, they wouldn't.
No,
although I have seen
right?
quite a few arrests in the Coast Guard recently.
Yeah.
Of boot camp, whatever, drill instructors, being charged with abuses of some kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who thought? I mean, I'm not saying all of them, but
Okay, so
it's a role that they're supposed to put on, not a role that they actually are. But I guess in some ways it probably attracts.
I remember we watched that. Remember that documentary we watched about the police force in one of the reservations, one of the planes reservation, and the drill sergeant was abusing everybody because that's how he was.
That's how he was brought up as a Marine.
And then all the kids were leaving, and another guy came up to him and said, these kids, they go through that every day at home. They grew up with that. They don't want it here. It's not going to help them. It didn't help them so far. All it did is damage them. Why would
continue it?
You have to change your parameters of how to train kids. And it says, but they're going to be facing all these criminals. It's going to be hard on them. And if they're not tough, then they're already in that.
They're already tough. Well, they're already
life. So teach them how to manage it, not to.
Yeah, I would
remember that.
I do. Yeah, that was interesting because it's true, right? The thing that worked in the past to make Marines, we won't say gentle souls, but we'll say, patriotic, nationalistic products of the times. Like, we're at war, we have to save our country, so we all need to go to war now. As a group, even though you guys probably can go shoot deer and whatever, can you shoot humans?
Right.
Well, in order to make you shoot humans and cut their throats and all these other things, we're going to have to do some rather traumatic things to you. Dehumanize, right? I would say dark things.
Yeah.
And through the dark process, you're
put into that dark part of the light dark paradigm, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then we can make some
once you're damaged,
cold killers out of you for a while.
Yeah, once you're damaged
properly, you'll be stone cold killers, and that's effectively what this process is for.
Right.
Which isn't what we want our police to be.
No.
Or I was watching. This funny thing came on my feed. I guess it's not too funny, but it was Coast Guard officers getting their first assignments, and they all go up there. They've been in 4 years of this stuff, and they're super happy going to their first units. And it was like, I'm going to go to flight school, learn how to fly a helicopter. And another one is, I'm going to go to this ship, and we're going to go take care of buoys. And this other one was, this is search and rescue. We're going to go rescue people who are drowning and things, But the process of boot camp was, all this screaming and hollering and super high pressure, all these other things to generate, I guess, a fighting force of some kind, which this isn't for that. Right. It's like, why are you doing that to these people? Yeah. So then I watched 2024 class getting off of the bus, Coast Guard boot camp for like the regular enlisted too. And it's the most absurd thing you've ever seen. You know what I mean? Because the Coast Guard, sure, they got guns and they're supposed to go to war when they have a big war. But 99% of the time,
it's about cleaning the boat.
It's about cleaning the boat, painting the boat, rescuing, save, and fly, and a little bit of law enforcement things. And there's no real need for all this yelling and screaming in boot camp thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It. In my experience, at the end of it, it created an individual and groups that actually don't match where they go.
Right.
When anybody shows up at their unit, they say, "Great, another boot," and they have to teach them how to be in the Coast Guard all over again because they're
useless.
And they think they're in something that they're not.
Right.
Anyway, yeah. It's similar, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Similar.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Like the Navajo police guys, like being abused to turn them into stone cold killers, but they just came from a whole lifetime of being raised in that abuse. So they're just like, I'm not here for that.
Yeah, and they leave. And I think once that guy saw it and changed his attitude and the methodology, I think they were able to retain a lot of good quality guys and girls who stayed in the police force, didn't they?
Yeah. Remember they would like get out, but he's like, I'm going to go to a concert instead of what I'm supposed to do. Forget it.
That one. Yeah, that one. That was before they changed their attitude.
Yeah, it's before they changed it.
Yeah, that's not bad. All right.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't think that darkness helps. It doesn't. It's here to disable you. Okay? In every way and form. Disable you or create a little drone that receives orders and carries them out.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. The next point was Earth in this silent part of the universe. So in the original article, I talked a little bit about another dream that I had as an adult. It's like another recurring dream. All right. So this dream came in the particular precursor to the request from the High Frequency Collective and Gaia for me to go public. In that dream or vision, I felt a silence or a void in the universe. When I got close, I saw that there was much suffering there. To me, this was a way to understand why so many light beings came to Earth to bring light and high frequencies here. It gave me a perspective to the larger collective of existence outside of our planet. Like an understanding of why people volunteer to come. You see, I don't work directly with the public. I never have. I've always been only working and interested in the light workers of the planet. To offer them tools to be more effective. To offer them tools to remove all that hurt and pain and stuff and disableness that they've had throughout their lives. Give them tools to remove their limitations. So they can be, and the programs that they have integrated into themselves to limit themselves. Yeah. So that has been my work. And for me to understand that work, or why there were people who needed that work, and that help.
Yeah.
I saw that other vision. Right. So do you have any experiences of that yourself?
I can't really comment on it. Mm-hmm. I don't quite understand it either.
Yeah. So would you say that you volunteer to come in this lifetime and do some light work?
I volunteered to come back to do some light work.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Why would you volunteer to come back and do some light work?
Well, probably no small amount of the experience of the light dark learning guilt for all the things that you might have done.
Yeah.
So to make
amends,
make it right, then you have a little bit of a job. It's like, let's turn it back the way it was.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on game. So for individual engaged in a lot of those things over a lot of lifetimes, this would be a mission to set things right into their natural order, things like that.
Right. Well, that makes sense. The other thing that I noticed is that when I tell of this vision, a lot of individuals fall into the light dark paradigm of aggressor victim,
Mm-hmm.
and they think that that was done to that part of the universe and that like it
Oh,
was attacked or something.
yeah, I've heard that too.
But it's not true. That was kind of a like an agreement to have this experience, right? And it's not like, oh, we have to go and rescue them type energy. Although a lot of people do carry the rescue thing.
Right, it's like the um the mission, the duty, the whatever you might say can be empowered or powered by these things, right? So how do
Yeah,
we
I
get you
suppose.
here? Well, we need to have a mission that you'll bite. It needs to be by your
Yes.
agreement. So what are you going to bite on, right?
Yeah.
What will you buy to have this experience? This experience is go through a split of reality
Yeah.
and whatever.
Yeah, so I understand that individuals would come in to make amends or to make it right, the things that they've done, put everything back to how they found it kind of thing. And that's closer, I think, to a lot of the energy behind the split.
Yep.
Because the individuals who came here to save or whatever's, and that only comes in as you enter the dynamic, because from the outside, it was bring more light so that we can put things right again. So people who were light came in, not having any idea at all
Or in was
what it was or what they were doing. But I said, oh yeah, I made a lot, I'll go in there, right? Not understanding at this level of experience what that was going to be like. But anyways,
yeah. So that's the thing that kind of goes with it is that thinking of generalities, but there are a million billion specificities. Like
yes,
they're specifics.
yeah,
There's certain groups that responded to certain duties. Some of them were bring some light and had no idea, right?
Yeah,
Where they're going to bring some light, but they're all game for I'll do that.
I'm that frequency. I'll go in there.
And other ones have this savior energy that they need to exhaust or whatever.
And there's just like, oh, I have to make up for what I
Make
did.
amends for all the things over time, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's multiples.
And then you have your soul, right? And then the body aspect of it, it's because, and then your body might have a completely different reason for being here or doing this than your soul does, right?
Almost always does, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, that's quite interesting too, huh? Okay, so the silent part of the universe, and that's only an interpretation. It's like this wasn't really literally a silent part of the universe, where then I moved forward and a lot of other beings who were very curious went forward and looked. It doesn't actually work that way. It's symbolic. Okay, it's symbolic with regards to frequencies, vibrations, and all the rest.
Does seem like a little bit quiet. We're like at the end of the galaxy, on the end of the little string on the sun with only one planet with air and stuff, and then closest ones are like an impossible distance away to go. It's a quiet part of the universe.
Yeah, quiet part of the universe. And then that brings us into our next part.
Good luck with this part.
Yes. Okay, I'm just going to read it and then we can discuss bits of it, okay?
Okay.
The next bit that we thought we might expand on are planets as planes of existence.
It has almost the whole word in it, so go for it. We're only missing the
We did
team.
talk about this phenomenon a little bit during our Wisdom Keeper Hour of the podcast last week. However, we can definitely see that the understanding we have of what a planet consists of, or even what the universe really looks like, will bring us a long way to understand the games we're presently involved in. And a lot of people get triggered when I say it's a game, like the game of life, or what games are you playing right now, and stuff like that. Because it's very important. It's not a game. They're not playing, right?
Well, kind of was playing this game to see how many times I can fill this boat with fish.
Yes.
And is that an entertaining enough game to have an entire lifetime of? It seems like it for a lot of people, not for everyone though.
Oh.
I never thought when I started that game that I would ever exhaust it because there were so many different things that would happen, you know?
Yeah.
And then
You did make it really challenging for yourself.
well, in some ways, I suppose. In other ways,
Yeah.
what part of the challenging? Challenging to do it or yeah.
Out there. I mean, I remember the years that you were fishing when we were together.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 or 4 days before you were set to go, you would get the worst flushing symptoms, like flu-like symptoms, with headaches and high fevers.
Well, that was only
Plugged
because
up, you know.
that was only because of you, honey.
What?
I didn't want to leave you. No, I didn't want to leave. I wanted to leave and I didn't want to leave. I was conflicted.
Oh, okay.
So when you're getting confliction emotionally, then you have a flush symptom often.
Yeah. I remember more than once you were getting ready to go or you were out in the ocean and you'd say such and such, they just get on their boat. They don't do anything. They come out here, fish, and then go home. And it's so easy for them and they're drunk all the time and everybody else is drunk and they come in and make a lot of money. Well, you know, while I have to fix 10,000 things on the boat before I can come out or do this and the other. And then my crew, you know, one of them gets injured, another one gets arrested and this and the other. It was like challenge after challenge.
Yeah.
Was that always like that or also after we got together?
That was after we got together.
Oh my gosh. But that is a very good example of how we can create challenges or blocks, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying before I didn't have crew members that went to jail and stuff, but it didn't matter. It was irrelevant. It didn't matter. There's plenty of crewmen and we didn't have crew issues. We had the same crew for 20 years and we didn't have to talk to each other if we didn't want to. We just drive the boat out there and all of the stuff got done without needing words because everybody knew what they were doing. You didn't have to tell them.
Right.
When it first started and didn't know anything, sure, it was like superhuman effort to get the boat off the beach and get all the way out there. And then you also had to figure out how to catch fish. So that was why it felt like you would never have exhausted your
that game
because there's always so many variables going on. But
right.
It turned out it's only complicated until you do it for a little while, and then it's pretty straightforward. It's like point it that way, go that many hours, do this, and do this about 20 times, and then come home. And if you do that, then it's pretty much going to be full.
Right.
Or full enough.
Yeah.
You might have to do it 25 times. You might get to do it 15 times or 10. But basically, just do X, Y, Z, and then you'll be fine. So, yeah, it lost its mystery.
And luster?
Well, the luster became, you need a bigger boat because it's got to fill up a bigger boat. Competition comes in. It's like who's going to be the best when it catches the most, fills it up the most. But even those, after a period of time, they don't have the same panache as they used to. As an individual, you change, right? Some people, that's good forever.
Right.
It's like if you wake up in the morning and you go out on your boat and you fill it, bring it back, you won.
Yeah.
And every time you win, it's just you won again. And you won again too.
Yeah.
Right?
So going back to undoing the wrongs of the past, I remember you sent me a photo once and I'm like, wow, you're covered in blood.
Well, yeah, hearts and blood, head to toe. That's part of the fishing. But it's fish blood, so it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's like, it was quite shocking actually to see it because you're such a gentle person.
Yeah. I mean, my pants were waterproof from blood and oil from the fishes. Yeah.
What do you think about that part of it?
Well,
like it's almost like there has been, because we have looked at some of your previous lifetimes and they were mostly to do with war and war games, stuff like that. And my physical body's incarnations were also to do very much as a warrior and killing and stuff. And it almost felt like, and a lot of people do have this aspect to themselves where they know that that's no longer the game, you know, going to war and having that game, the game of war, the theater of war, right? They even call it that. But there's still that whole body, thousands of years of incarnations doing just that. And where does that go?
Right. It, almost like needing an expression, but an expression that wasn't going to damage you at the soul level. So if I had, you know, joined the Navy instead of the Coast Guard or one of the militaries, and, you know, honestly, there are aspects to it I didn't like, and there's aspects to it I did like very much. And I didn't have to go kill anyone. I just rescued them. So that was kind of
why you did Coast Guard, right?
Yeah, kind of why I did Coast Guard instead of Navy, Army, whatever. But there's like, it felt like a period of time needing to stay out of the game, but entertained. But and at the end of the entertainment period, be able to exit
and to control
without
those
damage.
Tendencies, right?
Yeah, those tendencies, right? Yeah. So those seemed like that was functional for that, because remember we had talked about this damn salmon wanted to jump in the boat.
So let's go back to the story though, because we had an event at the Shaman Shack, right? Yeah. And during that event, it was the end of summer, I think, and all the creeks were drying up, and there were thousands upon thousands of baby salmon that got stuck in little puddles in the creeks and the river. And so being an event with the grooms and brides of Gaia, right? People who are very, very conscientious about Earth and animals and everything. We did a rescue mission. You organized a rescue mission of the baby salmon.
We gave them eggs.
Yeah. So basically, we got all these tubs full of water, and we
pond skimmers,
and
pool skimmers,
and then all the people went out into the creeks and started collecting all those baby salmon
out of all the little ponds that are drying up,
and then carry those big tubs of water with salmon into the big river, literally called Big River, and putting them there
so they can make it down to the ocean.
Yeah.
And not die in a dried up pond and get ate by the crows and the herons. I mean, they need food too, but they don't need all the baby salmon.
Come on. A lot. It was an unusual year.
Yeah, it was a pretty dry one.
And when I looked at that energy, I remember thinking, oh my God, that's not just thousands and thousands of babies that you all saved, but billions, because each one of those salmon that's survived
has babies,
and they have like
lots of babies.
They have thousands of
babies. Yeah.
So that was a big, big thing, especially as it came as a request from the from Gaia, right? And the Salmon Collective. And then I felt this amazing gratitude from the Salmon Collective. And I remember we've been together a few years already, and you had never gone salmon fishing.
Right? Well, I used to go salmon fishing every year.
Before, but not while we were together. You didn't go.
No, I just didn't switch the gear over, just stayed dragging.
Yeah, dragging or whatever. And
go out for a few days.
That year, I said, Larry, you need to go salmon fishing. And you said, no, why? And I said, because the Salmon Collective wants to thank you, and all the fish that are set to die, they're going to jump on your boat. They're going to send them all to your boat. You need to go salmon fishing. So the Salmon Collective can say thank you. And you're like, but then I have to change the gear and this and this. And just do it. And the crew, blah, blah, blah. Just do it. It says, okay. And so you did. You changed the gear. You got the crew.
The gear and the crew and I remember we were like, so how's fishing going? And everybody's like, 10 a day, 5 a day. It's terrible. Like,
and I said, don't worry. Don't worry. The collective was very clear. They're going to send every fish that's supposed to die to your boat so they can become part of your life and support you back.
Which for me was pretty confusing because I just transitioned in a way out of let's go slaughter them to let's just save all the baby fish. Yeah. And now they wanted to jump on the boat, which clearly meant I had to grab them with a hook, take them on a boat, chop off their head, the blood squirts everywhere. Yeah. And put them in the fish hole and sell them and get money and, eat them, that kind of thing. I'm like, this is thank you. This is
because I said it's like it's the ones that are gonna die,
right
in the ocean, but they're just gonna go and die in your boat. They want to say thank you,
and that way kind of helped.
And it's like with the fish collective, as soon there's a millisecond between they die and then they're born again in a little egg. They don't even see the difference, you know?
It's a continuous experience. It isn't like
not like us, we're going between lives and wait a while, or even our
come back in, get born as a different whatever, and combination and different. This fish is like swimming in an egg, swimming in an egg, swimming in an egg, swimming in an egg, eating, swimming in an egg, eating, swimming in an egg. It's a long, continuous experience of existence. So when you explained it that way to me, then I was like, okay, I think I can do it. And I got on the boat and I went out there and we put out the hooks. And I ain't seen nothing like that my entire life. Fish, like you can't believe.
Yeah. Other people
all
were getting
the time.
10 fish.
We had 1,000.
Yeah.
We were coming in unloading 1,000 fish.
Yeah.
And everybody else is coming in with 20.
Yeah.
1,000 to 20.
Yeah.
And I was like,
You even went to places where people were not getting any fish at all. And you filled the boat.
Filled the boat. Yeah. And they were driving like, it was insane. It was almost overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And at one point I remember we had caught so many fish. I like got my fill of them.
Yes.
I like, not fill of them. I don't want no more. I've got my fill of them to the degree, like if this one isn't injured, I'll throw it back in the water and let it swim off. Maybe it'll live. Because I forgot the part where it was already going to die.
Yeah.
And so this one came in and he's just barely caught on his lip. And he got all the way to the boat. He got in there and he was so alive. I was like, here, you should go back. You can get bigger. And he went, wiggled like that, jumped in the air, plush into the water. And a sea lion all of a sudden showed up there and gobbled the damn salmon up right in front of me.
Right.
Literally 1 foot away from me.
Yes.
And I'm here to tell you there was no sea lions behind the boat the whole time.
Or else. They're very loud and you can tell, yeah.
Well, they're loud and they get the fish off the hooks. Right, and they ruin your gear and they're a real pain in the butt. Mm-hmm. There isn't a mysterious one just swimming back there. Pretending he's not bugging all of those fish right next to him, just waiting for you to throw in. No, that doesn't happen. No.
I think that was good to remind.
That was a reminder. It's like, hey, these ones are going to die. These ones are dying, so... take them or don't take them.
They're going to die.
But they're going to die either way.
Yeah.
So don't be caught up on that. Mm-hmm. So, I got with the program.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so the planes and planets.
As planes of existence.
Planes of existence.
I don't know how we got distracted by fishing from that, but planets as planes of existence this week.
It's a game, right?
There were two moon landers that went up to the moon. Uh-huh. And one of them, who had only been trying to get to the moon for 4 years or something, they're named Firefly. They made it to the moon and landed their lander. Just like, I don't know if you remember in 1980s, they had this Moonlander game. It was in low res with lines. Yes. And you had to tilt it and then push and try and get it to like go to zero and land.
Yeah.
And it was kind of hard. Well, that was exactly the video game they were showing, except for, high res, real videos and all those other things. And they managed to land. And the next couple of days, another group that had sent another lander, this is their second try, they also tried to land on the moon, but theirs tipped over. Mm. Last time they went, theirs tipped over too. And this time theirs went and it tipped over in a crater. So it's like the video that they got, somehow they got a pic. I don't know how.
I know.
If your lander lands on the moon and tips over, somehow it can still take a picture and send it to you.
Yeah.
It's strange to me. Yeah. But somehow they did. They got a picture and it's all tipped over and it's going to die in a day or two because they can't tip it back up and it's in a crater, so it's in the shade, so its battery's going to die.
Oh, okay.
But the other one, it's there and it's like sticking a thing into the dirt and sucking it up like a vacuum cleaner, shaking it up and then spitting out the rocks because that's important.
Oh, got it. So that's the games we're presently involved in. That's why we came to talk about fishing and things on the moon. Many people might correlate a plane of existence to mean the flat Earth theory. However, this theory is as accurate to the true nature of Earth as the marble spinning through space theory, or Earth as a ball theory.
It can appear like that in the plane of existence, though, right?
You can't see it with your own eyes. It's all, Photoshop stuff. You haven't actually seen it. It doesn't appear that way now. I don't know if you've ever used Google Maps. Have you used Google Maps?
I have.
Have you gone to the Arctic or the Antarctic?
Oh, yeah.
Have you noticed how the images are squished into little points to make it round?
Yeah.
So how does the camera take a squished picture when everywhere else it creates square pictures?
I don't know. All I know is it's there seems to be more than one reality that's going on at the same time. Some of the realities have all the science to back them up and the math that backs them up, and some of them don't have any of that. And the ones that don't have any of that somehow are real, and the ones that do have all of that aren't real. So when you get to that state, you're like, I don't know.
That is probably because plane originates from the word planus, which means level or flat. Although some etymologists will relate the word planet to a Greek word meaning wanderer, they cannot be sure of its origin. And some of them do actually say it's the same origin, and some others say no, they're not the same origin. Yeah. So, in my own observations, that I can barely translate into human language, it appears that what we think of as planets, stars, and cosmos, universe, galaxies, and such are not marbles or fireballs traveling at gazillions of miles an hour through a vacuum called space. They're closer to what we might call a bundle of agreements in what to experience as physical beings. It is malleable and flexible, like a lucid dream.
And when you hear people who have a lucid dream or more like near-death experiences, they will invariably go to space, right? And they'll be traveling, and they'll put their attention somewhere, and then that place that they're looking at becomes where they are.
Yeah, and it's a whole
reality, a whole plane of existence, right? Although to their words and their eyes and their mouth and the way that they express it, it's like they went to space,
right?
Even though space are our words and eyes and experience of what we say of this space and the NDE experience of going to space, they're clearly different, but the same. We use the
same words. So when I had an NDE when I was 7 and I died, I was in a place that you might call space, or you might call a vacuum. It was a nowhere place. It was all just black all around me. There was nothing there. And I just sat in nothingness. And I waited. But I wasn't phased out. I wasn't scared or anything. I just waited. There. But I can see that from the imagery that we see in movies or computer-generated images and things, or Photoshop, that could have been mistaken for space, right? Quote space, because there was black.
Yeah.
And there was nothing there.
Exactly. So you see how these two looking the same reels, one of them you use a chemical rocket to go in, and the other one you like die and dislocate from your body, and then in the non-physical you somehow goes. So they're like, wait, there's something here. Something here that needs looked at, because if all it takes is a chemical rocket to get to heaven, something fishy here.
Yes. All right, so the next one, and we're going to speed through it because we're already out of time.
Okay.
Klingons with a C, not the K ones from Star Trek.
Okay.
In relation to the dark and how to let them go.
Okay.
We often think we live in isolation, that our experience is solely created by us, and there is no other input than what we experience ourselves. In a natural state, experiencing our universe and our planet does not contain entities that feed off fear, suffering, pain, horror, disgust, envy, greed, etc. when we invited that band of frequency into our lives here, we also had to create as well as invite entities that could hold that frequency and those parameters of existence. Without those co-creators and the limitations of awareness we have placed on ourselves, we cannot naturally have those low frequency experiences. What I call negative Klingons are indeed entities who cling onto ourselves and feed off those frequencies, plus help us co-create situations where we will feel those things. It is like a symbiotic relationship that allows all parties to succeed in their desires. Yes. We don't create the universe ourselves. We co-create it. It's a co-creation. If we want to create or co-create a positive experience, then we surround ourselves with positive beings and people to help us co-creating that experience. And the opposite is also true. If we believe and feed a belief that says that pain and suffering and torture will make you stronger and a better person, you're going to be inviting entities and people who can co-create that with you for whatever beliefs you have that gives it value and you accept in your life, basically. And those are called Klingons because they cling on to you and they feed off you. Anybody who's been in a co-dependent relationship will know what I'm talking about. Is that you cling on to that person and that person clings on to you for dear life, and you have that experience every single day over and over again, that drama, negativity, and torture.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of a quote I saw yesterday that just rang so darn true. Let me grab it really quick.
Okay.
Because it matches perfectly this.
And for you who are listening to this on the free hour, don't forget to subscribe at drivingtotherest.com to see the panelists' inputs and further expansion of this topic. And also join the Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific after party where you actually become part of the conversation too. It's open for everyone who subscribes in Substack. And walk with me now. Did you find your quote?
Yeah. So, if you want evidence, and this is from Matthew Manning.
Mm-hmm.
If you want evidence that the world is a terrible place, watch the news and surf the web. But if you want to remember how incredible this planet is, go out in nature. Nature has no incentive to keep us agitated, angry, and anxious.
Isn't that cool?
That's cool.
It's very accurate. Very accurate. Very good.
Yeah, so I went yesterday to go stare at the river with the dogs.
Yeah.
And I didn't come back anxious, agitated, or
just sweaty and soaking wet because it was raining.
It was raining like the dickens.
And the dogs were exhausted and happy.
And they were happy. Yeah. So highly recommend.
Yeah, very good.
Okay.
We'll see you in a few minutes.
See you in a few seconds. Milliseconds.
And we're back. Welcome, everyone, to the Wisdom Keeper Hour, the second half of Driving to the Res. We're talking and continuing the conversation on how can the light and dark see each other. I'm Ashley Swill. I'm CEO of iBenz Academy, iBenz Method Mentor, corporate HR leader, mystic, and yoga teacher.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Kara Consigli. I'm an iBenz Method Mentor, teacher, consultant, healer, entrepreneur, gamer, and mystic.
Hi, I'm Fred Guerin, aerospace engineer, pilot, dancer, past life regressionist, healer, and student of the occult.
Hi, I'm Ileana Rojero. I'm a mystic, a mentor, psychic meditation teacher, architect, and founder of El Método iBenz, the official channel of Inelia's work in Spanish.
Hi, Larry. Hi, Inelia.
So, jumping right into it, last time, Larry, you were talking about the 3 landings on the moon and how they may or may not be real. And I have to say, as an aerospace engineer for 37 years, and all my training was to learn about how to, land on the moon, go into space, make airplanes, everything, navigation around Earth. And then only at the end of this 37 years, and nothing happened in my career. There was no new technology. We had some computer stuff, but no new airplanes, no new nothing, no fun. And then right at the end, we have going back to the moon, and aerospace engineering is finally fun again, only to find out it's probably all fake. And there's a cognitive dissonance that I'm going through because it's not fair.
Totally.
Well, you're not alone. I think there's a lot of us that feel everything we were taught is just a lie, like everything. So
Things
it's
that,
just
especially things we love and enjoy and look forward to. It reminds me a little bit your situation, Fred, with my brother, because I think it was 1968 or something that they did the whole moon landing video live broadcast. And I remember when it happened, my dad had gotten a television just for the occasion because my brother was just insanely obsessed with it. And he sat there for hours watching it all live. And I walked in and I was, 2 years old. I walked in, I looked at it, and my brother's like, look, they've landed on the... And I looked closer and I said, no, that's not real. And I walked away.
Join us for the rest of this conversation at driveintotheres.com.
And when you go to driveintotheres.com and you join in the rest of the show, rest of the second hour, you also get to join in the after party. 9 o'clock on Fridays, we all get together, including you.